There's a dread that hits when you realize you're on the wrong side of a revolution. It's the feeling of the rocket ship leaving the launch pad, and you're still on the ground, watching it disappear into the clouds. For a lot of engineers, that feeling has a number: $482,000. That isn't a CEO's salary, it's the total compensation for a staff AI engineer at Google. A number so big, it feels like a score from a video game. And when you compare it to your own $115,000 paycheck, that dread gets very, very real. But listen to me. That gap isn't a wall, it's a ladder. And a top tier generative AI salary is closer than you think. I'm going to give you the three-part playbook to climb it. But first, let's break down the actual rungs you'll be climbing. The first thing to understand is that base salary is only the beginning of the story. The numbers we're talking about are total compensation. That's base salary plus bonuses plus equity. This is the only number that truly matters and is the single biggest mistake engineers make when comparing offers. It's a mistake that cost an engineer I know over $150,000. He fixated on a slightly higher base salary and walked away from a package that 2 years later would have been worth a life-changing amount of money. It was a brutal, expensive lesson in looking at the wrong number. Let's start at the bottom of the ladder. Rung 1 is the entry level or L3 engineer, typically with 0 to 2 years of experience. According to the latest data from levels.fyi and Glassdoor, the total compensation for this role lands between $110,000 and $180,000 per year. This is the starting line. But the starting line is just that, a start. The first real jump happens at the next rung, the mid-level or L4 engineer, usually with 3 to 5 years of experience. This is where the numbers start to separate in a big way. Total compensation here ranges from $180,000 to $250,000. This jump isn't just about time served, it's about demonstrating autonomy. An L3 gets a well-defined ticket and is expected to code it. An L4, on the other hand, is given a problem, like users are dropping off at this step, and is expected to design the solution, write the code, and ship it with minimal handholding. The third rung is the senior or L5 engineer with 5 or more years of experience. This isn't just a pay bump. This is the moment your compensation becomes disconnected from the hours you work and tied directly to the quality of your decisions. You're leading projects, mentoring others, and influencing technical direction. The total compensation reflects that, ranging from $220,000 to over $350,000. From here, the numbers enter a different stratosphere. The top rungs of staff and principal engineers, or L6 and above. These are the technical leaders setting the strategy for entire teams or organizations. Their total compensation packages regularly climb past $350,000 and can reach up to $550,000 and beyond. But this ladder is a lie, or at least it's incomplete, because there are engineers with 5 years of experience making more than people with 10. And it comes down to two multipliers that have nothing to do with just climbing these rungs. The first and most misunderstood multiplier is where you work. For your entire career, you've been trained to look at the wrong number. That base salary on your offer letter, it's a vanity metric. It's designed to make you feel good, to give you a clear number to anchor on, while the real value, the number that actually builds wealth, is hidden in paragraphs you probably skim. On one side, you have the FAANG giants, stable public companies with deep pockets. On the other, you have the high-growth startups, agile, risky, and promising a potential lottery ticket. The way they structure their compensation is fundamentally different, and misunderstanding this difference is the most expensive mistake a tech professional can make. Let's look at the story of a mid-level software engineer we'll call Alex. He was a sharp developer, and after a few weeks of interviewing, he had two great offers. The first was from a hot, venture-backed GenAI startup for a $160,000 base salary. The second was from a FAANG company for $145,000 in base salary, but it also included $120,000 in restricted stock units or RSUs. Alex saw the $15,000 difference in base pay, felt the excitement of the startup, and accepted their offer almost immediately. He felt like he won. He didn't. What Alex overlooked was the structure of his compensation. The startup gave him stock options, the right to buy shares in the future, a lottery ticket. The FAANG company gave him RSUs, actual shares of the company, bricks of gold. Both came with a standard 4-year vesting schedule and a 1-year cliff. This is so important to understand. The 1-year cliff means if you leave before your first anniversary, you get zero equity. It's a loyalty test. After that first year, you typically get 25% of your grant, and the rest vests monthly or quarterly over the next 3 years. Let's fast forward 4 years. Alex's startup hit a few roadblocks. The market tightened, a competitor launched a better product, and their growth stalled. His stock options, that tiny percentage of the company he was so excited about, were effectively worthless paper. Meanwhile, his colleague who took the FANG offer had been diligently vesting her RSUs. Because the company's stock had performed well, her original $120,000 grant was now worth over $150,000 in liquid public stock. Alex's $15,000 win on base salary actually cost him a life-changing amount of money. To make sure you never make Alex's mistake, I've put together a free total compensation calculator. It lets you compare offers side by side so you can see the true value beyond the base salary. You can grab it for free at the link in the description. It's a tough lesson. Which side of that trade-off do you lean towards? The guaranteed RSUs or the startup lottery ticket? Let me know your take in the comments. This isn't a rare story. When you look at the compensation data for a company like Google, with a total comp range from $185,000 to over $583,000, that massive gap isn't just about seniority. It's driven by the value of RSUs. They are a core part of the compensation, not just a bonus. For 90% of engineers, taking the guaranteed liquid stock at a FANG company is a financially superior decision than gambling on startup equity. Avoiding Alex's mistake ensures you keep the money you earn. But a second multiplier determines if you even get these offers in the first place. It has nothing to do with your years of experience and everything to do with 3 specific skills companies are paying a massive premium for right now. If this is the kind of strategic career advice you need to get ahead, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We go deep on this every single week. The generalist software engineer is becoming a commodity. The specialist is becoming indispensable. To understand the power of this, consider the story of a QA engineer we'll call Maya. She was earning $95,000 a year and was brilliant at her job, finding bugs, ensuring quality, but she felt stuck. She watched as her software engineering colleagues were pulled onto all the exciting new generative AI projects, while her own work felt increasingly repetitive. Her anxiety was that she needed to learn everything AI just to catch up, a task that felt impossible. But instead of trying to boil the ocean, she did something much smarter. She started analyzing senior GenAI job postings on LinkedIn, not for roles she could get today, but for roles she wanted in 2 years. She noticed the pattern. Over and over again, companies were asking for experience with agentic workflows. They didn't just want engineers who could call an API. They wanted engineers who could build systems of AI agents that could reason, plan, and execute complex tasks on their own. So she focused. For 6 months, she dedicated her nights and weekends to one thing: mastering how to build multi-agent systems. She built a single, powerful portfolio project using a framework like LangGraph. It was a research agent that could take a complex query, break it down into subtasks, assign those tasks to different specialized AI agents, a researcher, a writer, a critic, and then assemble their work into a finished report. She put that project, clearly documented, at the top of her resume. The result was stunning. She landed a role as a Gen AI automation engineer, securing a generative AI salary package of $190,000 in total compensation. She didn't just get a raise, she doubled her salary and leapfrogged junior software engineers who had more coding experience but lacked this one specific high leverage skill. Maya's story is living proof that a single deep skill is worth more than a dozen generic ones. Her journey reveals the three key skill specializations that are acting as massive salary multipliers today. These are the skills that command a 15 to 25% premium over roles that just list AI as a general requirement. First is retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, an expertise in vector databases. This is the skill of making language models smarter by giving them access to private, up to date information. Companies are desperate for engineers who can build systems that let an AI answer questions based on their internal documents, not just the public internet. This is the key to unlocking proprietary data, and it's a massive business priority. Second, as Maya discovered, is building multi agent systems. This is about moving beyond simple chatbots and creating sophisticated autonomous workflows that can handle complex business processes. Think of it as building a team of AI employees that can handle tasks like market research, software development, or customer support planning. The return on investment for this is enormous. Third is LLM fine tuning. While most companies will use off the shelf models like those from OpenAI or Anthropic, companies with unique datasets are paying a premium for engineers who can specialize these models for specific tasks. This not only improves performance, but can dramatically cut API costs, which is a huge win for any company operating at scale. We've covered RAG, multi agent systems, and fine tuning. Of those three, which one are you most excited to learn? Drop it in the comments below. My next video is a deep dive into building your first multi-agent portfolio project, giving you a step-by-step guide to follow. Maya didn't wait for permission, she built proof. And that proof is a three-part playbook you can start running tonight. First, you build one high-value portfolio project. Forget building 5 small things. Focus on one project that showcases one of the skill multipliers we just discussed. Take a cue from Maya and build a multi-agent system that automates a research or planning task. Or create a RAG knowledge base, a document, question, and answer system that demonstrates immediate, practical business value. Structure it on GitHub with a crystal clear README file. Many recruiters now review repositories before they even look at a resume. Your project is your proof. Second, you quantify your impact on your resume. Stop listing tasks and start demonstrating results. Use this formula. I accomplished X by implementing Y, which led to Z. Instead of writing, worked on backend APIs, you write, developed RESTful APIs for an e-commerce app, decreasing server load time by 40% and supporting a 3 times increase in daily transactions. This reframes you from someone who completes tickets to someone who creates value. Track metrics like performance improvements, cost savings, or error reduction. Numbers tell a story that words can't. Third, and most importantly, you master the total compensation negotiation. This is where you avoid Alex's $150,000 mistake. When you get to the offer stage, do not focus on the base salary. Instead, use this exact phrase. Thank you for the offer. Based on my research for this role and level, I'm targeting a total compensation of $220,000. I'm flexible on how that's broken down between base, bonus, and equity. This single sentence shifts the entire conversation. It shows you understand the game, gives the employer flexibility, and anchors the negotiation around the only number that truly matters. That feeling of the rocket ship leaving without you? It ends tonight. Your one job is to open a blank document and write down the title of the one portfolio project you will build based on one of the 3 skills we just covered. Not 5 ideas, 1. Once you have that title, your next question will be which of the major AI roles it's best suited for. For that, I've built a complete guide called the AI Career Map. It breaks down the 7 highest demand roles, the exact skills you need, and their generative AI salary potential. It's your guide to making sure the project you build tonight gets you the job you want tomorrow. That's linked in the description below. So what are you going to build?